morning, everyone. Happy Sabbath. I would like to just share with you a few thoughts this morning about our friendships that we have here on earth. Now, I lost a very special friend when Ken Coe from the Bellflower Church passed away last week. And I've just been cycling through a lot of memories that I've had with him and his family over the years. Ken and his wife, Jennifer, were our adventure leaders at Bellflower in the late 80s. And they were actually a pilot club for the current adventure curriculum before it became an NAD program. So that was, I really enjoyed working with them and really miss him. And I really appreciate his family, who I've been able to interact with on different levels over the years. Number of his children came up to Cedar Falls the last couple summers. As I look back on my life, I'm really grateful for the friends that I was able to have, that I met in academy and college, many that are still friends to this day. Facebook goes a long way on helping us reconnect with friends. But friends are so important in life because what our friends are, that can affect what we become. And this is why I think our Adventist schools are important, to be able to have a place for our young people to develop these friendships. And also Pathfinders and Adventurers provide that opportunity as well. The Bible has a lot to tell us about the friendships that we form. For example, Proverbs 17:17 tells us that a friend loves at all times. Our English word friend comes from the same root as the word for freedom. So a genuine friend actually sets us free to be who and what we are. Similarly, Proverbs 18:24. Yeah, Proverbs has a lot to say about friendships. Proverbs 18:24 tells us that in order to have friends, a man must show himself to be friendly. Dale Carnegie once said, "You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming really interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people to be interested in you." In other words, the best way to make friends is to be one. Real quickly this morning, I would like to share with you the 10 commandments of friendship. Commandment number 1, speak to people. There's nothing as nice as a cheerful word of greeting, even to a total stranger. Speak to people. Number 2, smile at people. You've heard it said, it takes only 72 muscles to form a frown, but only 14 to smile. Yet we spend more of our time frowning than we do smiling. So smiling at people. Number 3, call people by their name. The sweetest music to anyone's ear is the sound of their own name. Number 4, be friendly and helpful. If you would have friends, be friendly. Give it that extra effort. Number 5, be cordial. Speak and act as if everything you do were a real pleasure. You know, I had a friend in college where he was always negative, and he'd walk in a room and it would seem like somebody turned out the lights. People gravitate towards someone who is positive, and it gives off that positive energy. People want to be around people like that. Number 6 is be genuinely interested in people. You can like everyone at some level if you try. Number 7, be generous with praise and cautious with criticism. I notice in restaurants, people love to complain if something goes wrong, but people rarely take the opportunity to share when something is good or when somebody does something outstanding. And there have been a number of times where I've been at a restaurant and I really appreciated something or I like something. I asked to see a manager and I can see the server rolling their eyes like, oh no, here we go again. And then I bring the manager over. I say, you know what? I really like how this happened or this, or that you offered this or whatever. And they're so relieved. Oh, good. I thought you were going to complain about something. So we need to be generous with our praise. When someone makes an effort, let them know you appreciate it. That goes a long way. And I especially tell my church members this when it comes to our adventure and Pathfinder leaders who are volunteers, who put in long hours and no one sees the hard work that you folks do. A little word of kindness and appreciation goes a really, really long way. Number 9, be thoughtful of the opinions of others. Don't just shut them off because they might disagree with you. And number 10, be alert to give service. What counts most in life is what we do for other people. It's not our bank account. It's not the car we drive, the house we live in, the accumulation of wealth. It's what do we do for other people? That's the most important. One of the best examples we have of friendship in the Bible is the friendship between David and Jonathan. Even though God had chosen David to succeed Saul on the throne of Israel, Saul insisted that his son, Prince Jonathan, would succeed him on the throne. And in order to accomplish this, Saul sought to destroy David, hunt him down, and kill him. But even in the midst of all of this, 1 Samuel 18, verse 1 tells us that Jonathan's soul became bound up with the soul of David. And Jonathan loved David as himself. Perhaps you're familiar with the film Brian's Song. I actually was channel surfing about a month ago and actually caught it late one night. Brian's Song is a movie that poignantly depicted the friendship between Gale Sayers and Brian Piccolo, which deepened into one of the best relationships in the history of sports. They were the starting backfield for the Chicago Bears in the late 60s. They were roommates on the road. This was unusual at the time because Sayers was black and Piccolo was white. That just didn't happen at that time. But that's the way that Coach George Halas wanted it. He wanted their players to room together by position, not by race. And they formed a very deep and enduring friendship. During the 1969 season, Brian Piccolo was cut down with cancer. And he fought to play the season out, but he was in the hospital more than he was on the field. And Gale Sayers would be at his bedside as often as humanly possible. And it's a heartwarming story that was based on a true story about friendship. You know, each of us need friends to serve as our support group. During Jesus' ministry, he had an inner circle of 3 disciples who were with him at all the major events in his public ministry. And these were Peter, James, and John. So even Jesus needed the support of human friendships during his ministry. Ecclesiastes 4, verse 9 tells us that 2 are better than 1 because they have a good reward for their labor. And a 3-fold cord is not quickly broken. The sequoia trees of California can grow as high as 300 feet above the ground. But as tall as these giant trees are, they usually have a fairly shallow root system. They shoot out in all directions in order to capture the greatest amount of surface moisture. And seldom will you see a redwood standing all alone because high winds would often uproot the tree and cause it to topple over. That's why they grow in clusters. And their intertwining roots provide support for one another against the storms. And support is what Jesus wanted from Peter, James, and John in Gethsemane as he faced Calvary. He said, watch and pray. Of course, we knew what they did. They all fell asleep. And the time that he needed him the most, they let him down. And if Jesus looked to human support in this hour of crisis, how much more do we need each other to bear one another's burdens? Don't walk in front of me. I may not follow. Don't walk behind me. I may not lead. Just walk beside me and be my friend. We all need friends. We all need human relationships. We all need a support group. And of course, it goes without saying that our greatest friend, who sticks closer than a brother, is our own friend Jesus. And one of the reasons we come together here on Sabbath mornings as Pathfinder and Adventure leaders is to give each other that support, a chance to pray together, to share together, and to lighten one another's burdens. So may God give us those friendships that we need, the support that we need, not only in our day-to-day walk, but in our responsibilities as Pathfinder and Adventure leaders.